Hi everyone, this is my Sims journey. I decided to name my Sim Everly Valentine. I just really like the name Everly and I couldn't think of a last name. And when I created this, it was near Valentine's Day, so I thought it was a good fit. So I'm just going to give you guys an overview of my Sims journey. I just wanted to say this was my first time playing Sims, so it was a little different for me. So obviously I first started off with making my Sims avatar. And I noticed when I made her, I kind of think that she looks similar to me. She has the brown hair, she kind of wears jeans. I'm a jean person, and just like a cute top. She wasn't overly trendy, but I usually for the most part just wear simple clothing. So a little bit about Everly is she's a young adult, she's 22 years old, and she's finally on her own for the first time. She likes to be independent and tries to fix things on her own. On her spare time, she enjoys socializing with others, although she found it difficult to befriend many other Sims characters. She's a workaholic, graduated on top of her class, and her lifetime goal was to become a world-renowned surgeon, which she quickly realizes is not as easy as she thought. So when I was making up the story for Everly, I kind of made it similar. I'm a young adult, I'm 22 years old, I'm about to graduate, I want to be independent. So Everly kind of shares a similar story to me, and you'll also see a bigger picture of her on the right here so you can get a better look at her and how I made her look. And yeah, so basically this is just an overview about Everly and how I decided her story to be. Some quick facts about her include that her traits are friendly and a good sense of humor. I thought that these would work well with each other because if she wanted to interact with people, obviously someone's going to want to talk to a friendly person. And I thought if she had a good sense of humor, it would help her out a little bit more. I also made her a workaholic and a genius, which I'm not a workaholic and I'm not a genius, but I thought that this would help her out in the game, especially because she wanted to be the world-renowned surgeon. She's also handy, which I quickly learned that this was my favorite trait, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Her favorite color is blue, her favorite food is spaghetti, she's a Capricorn like myself, and again, her lifetime goal was to become a world-renowned surgeon. As you see, I did have some similar traits with myself. Again, I'm a Capricorn, and I also do like the color blue, and I wanted to add traits that I think would help her in the game. However, we find cooking is not Everly's forte at all. You can see on here that she is trying to cook something and she caught it on fire. She's freaking out, and this poor male person is just standing there not realizing what's going on. So we see that Everly was not a good cook. This probably brings down her confidence and self-concept. Bringing up self-concept, what is it? Self-concept is an idea of the self based on the beliefs one holds about themselves. We often see this with our personality traits, the decisions we make, body language, etc. This is how you see yourself. You are in charge of your own self-concept. Self-concept, however, can be influenced by social feedback, and it comes from introspection. On the topic of self-concept, we see a lot of examples in The Sims. So, several times in the game, I noticed that different things in my house broke: the toilet, the shower, the oven, etc. So, with this, I had the option to fix these items or I could pay for them. And I'm cheap, obviously. With The Sims, her being 22, she doesn't have a lot of money. She didn't have a great house or anything. So, with her having the trait being handy, she decided to fix the stuff on her own. And every time something broke, I had that option for her to fix the item. And I mean, it took her a little while, but every time she fixed it. So, with her being handy and having that characteristic, that shows an influence on her self concept. She felt confident with herself and she knew that this was her expertise. She knew that she was able to fix items, so this could be an example of self-concept in itself. This is how Everly describes herself. We saw that her trait was that she was handy, so I think that she knew in herself that she knew that she could fix this item, so rather than paying for it, she did it herself. Self-concept can also correlate with self-esteem. So, self-esteem is the confidence in one's own worth or abilities. If we have a low self-esteem, we're not too confident in ourselves. For example, we saw that Everly couldn't cook. So maybe if she was presented in a scenario where she did have to cook, she would have a low self-esteem. She wouldn't feel very confident on her abilities with this. However, a high self-esteem, we find ourselves more confident. So this would be when she was trying to fix items in her home. She knew that she could do it. She felt more confident in it. And I strongly believe that if we have a higher self esteem, we are more likely to engage in more activities and are more motivated than those who have a low self esteem. And I think this can also relate to real life. If we are in a situation where we don't feel confident with something, I know personally my self esteem is going to go down. And then in this video we see right here, it's Everly dancing with one of her friends. Um, I think that she had a high self esteem with this because Everly, when she first met people, she was really shy. So, I mean, she's just dancing with her friend in the living room or something, but it's something that gave her self esteem. So, how do we represent ourselves to others? Our representation may change based on the situations we are placed in. If we are more comfortable with someone, we will represent our true self, and if we find ourselves less comfortable, we may not act our true selves. So, on the top right, you see Everly with her boyfriend at the time. His name was Christopher, and they're just enjoying time on the beach. They're having a date. And you see on the bottom, I guess Everly had like a long day and she's just sleeping by the pool. It's cool, it happens. We all do it. With representing ourselves to one another, we obviously see that we're going to be more comfortable with the people that we know, rather than if we were just meeting someone for the first time. We're not going to feel overly confident. We may be a little more shy and more reluctant. And in this next video, this is Everly actually proposing to her boyfriend at the time, Christopher. So this also brings up self-esteem. Everly felt extremely confident in their relationship that she took it upon herself to just propose to Christopher. So again, we see if we're comfortable with someone, we feel a lot more confident. Now, this brings up the question, is it possible for self-concept to change? I definitely think that it's possible for self-concept to change. However, the change must come from you. As individuals, we are constantly changing, and situations and obstacles and whatnot can always change how we view ourselves. If one feels more comfortable and confident, their self-concept and how they feel about themselves, it can definitely change. We see this present in the Sims game, we see this present in our everyday lives. We may not be the same person we were several years ago because of our self concept. We view ourselves differently now than we may have years ago, and we're probably going to view ourselves differently in the future as well. So, I just wanted to show everyone my house. I moved into, it's an okay place, but I moved into what I could afford. So, you'll just see it's kind of plain. We just have the bedroom, some furniture around, and whatnot. It's nothing too special. It's just something that worked for Everly at the time, and obviously at the time she was living by herself. However, in this next one, welcome to my crib, literally. Plot twist, Everly ends up pregnant. So when her and Christopher moved in together and they found out that they were having a baby, they wanted to get a bigger place, but we did not have enough money at all. With my Sims being pregnant, she couldn't really work. So I think that this changed our self-concept when we couldn't afford to live in a new place. It kind of viewed ourselves down upon. And our self-esteem obviously decreased as well because we wanted to move into a bigger place and we did not have the funds for it. So, since I couldn't afford a new place, I just decided to put the cribs in the room. And I was under the assumption that I was having one baby, and then when I came out of the hospital, they were like, okay, you have twins. So now I had to buy two of everything. We really don't have any room, so you can see how that's a struggle in this situation presented. Obviously, like I said, we sometimes find ourselves in obstacles. Going back to my lifetime goal to become a world-renowned surgeon, it wasn't possible when Everly got pregnant. You can see on the bottom right, she wanted to join the medical career, but since she was pregnant, she was not able to. And I look back and I see that with my Sims journey, I thought that my lifetime goal was going to be my main focus, but I didn't focus on jobs and work as much as I thought I would. Rather, I focused on my relationships and friendships. Overall, I found this game to be a challenge, which I think was the point. I know a lot of people have played Sims before, and I've seen people play Sims, but I have never played it, so I didn't know exactly how I would be within the game. I learned a lot about myself as a Sims character. I remember a couple weeks ago, for one of our Sims journal, we were asked to interview a friend and get their take on how they thought our Sims, if they reflected us or looked like us or anything like that. And my friend said, yeah, I think the Sim looks like you, and I think she shares similar qualities. I find myself doing that a lot in games that have avatars. I try to make them somewhat look like me and have characteristics of myself and how I see myself and my self concept. but I also try to add qualities that I wish that I possess that I think would heighten up my self-esteem. Um, my aspirations and goals changed as I was presented with obstacles. Obviously, I didn't have a lot of money to move, and then when my sim found out she was pregnant, she couldn't really reach her goal of being a world renowned surgeon. So, you see, as time goes on with the situations you're presented with, things change. And I realize it's okay to change your path. Your self concept is constantly changing, and you can boost your self esteem if you find what you're truly happy with. So, I think the main point we got with self esteem and self concept, it's based on you. While other people can influence what you're doing and what you're saying, then at like the end of the day, self concept and self esteem is about you. And I think with this Sims project, I learned a lot through my Sims that I see within myself. I learned more about being aware of who I am and what I do, what I need to work on, my confidence levels, how I see myself, and I see how other people influence me as well. I really enjoy playing The Sims though. At first I was wondering like why we were doing a Sims project, but then I understood how this can relate to ourselves and social psychology. So if you guys are still watching, I thank you. If not, it's a long video, I don't blame you. But yeah, I really did enjoy the Sims project and I thought it was pretty eye-opening. And right here is just my references, some of the Google images I used, as well as our textbook. So thank you everyone for watching.